yourself in Berlin on a Sunday afternoon, you need to come.
So, after returning from an incredible 3 weeks in Cape Town, I decided to make the most of summer back home, getting out in nature, enjoying drinks on the patio, and entertaining friends at home. Now, September's come along and summer's coming to an end. To most people, this would signal the end of the vacation season, but to others, like me, it's also one of the best times to head to Europe. So after catching a red-eye over the Atlantic and a layover in Paris, I'm meeting up with my friends again in the first of the cities we'll visit. Good morning. It's about 10 a.m. or so. I managed to sleep last night, but it wasn't great sleep. It was a couple of hours here, an hour and a half there, and it just kept waking up again and again and again. What's important is that I go head out for coffee now. Thankfully, I found great coffee near my hotel in the Hackesche Höfe. This is a courtyard complex built starting from 1905 that blends commercial and residential buildings and is the biggest of its kind in all of Germany. So cute. The front courtyard was created in an Art Nouveau style, and what follows inside is a mix of stores, cafes, and apartments thoughtfully integrated together. It sort of feels like its own cozy village, contrasted against the busy street outside. Speaking of busy streets, the first thing I needed to do was to get situated and to understand the layout of Berlin. So on a particularly hot and sunny day, I downloaded a Rick Steves audio tour that guided me through much of the city center. And here is some of what it covered. It started in the Reichstag, the seat of the German federal parliament, which was sadly under construction, but it led right to the Brandenburg Gate, the 18th century neoclassical arch that now symbolizes a unified Germany and is one of the city's most iconic landmarks. Nearby was the Holocaust Memorial. This monument to the Jewish victims of the Holocaust has a design that doesn't have one explicit meaning and can be interpreted by each visitor through their individual experiences walking through the many slabs. The tour then continued east through Unter den Linden Boulevard towards the Babelplatz, which is a square surrounded on three sides by Humboldt University, St. Hedwig's Cathedral, and the Berlin State Opera. Then over the bridge to Museum Island and the Lustgarten, where we find the Berlin Cathedral and the Altes Museum. The scale and size of these buildings really caught my attention, and it's incredible the amount of work that would have gone into restoring these buildings from the bombings of World War II. There are a number of other buildings on Museum Island not covered by the tour though. My favorite was probably the Alten National Gallery, which houses one of the largest collections of 19th century sculptures and paintings in Germany. The tour then crossed the Spree River and finished in the large public square of Alexanderplatz. I'd really recommend this audio tour. You can complete it in about an hour and a half. It's comprehensive and helps to put all the landmarks into historical context. I like that you can go at your own pace, and also, it's free. I'll leave a link to it below. Throughout my time in Berlin, I couldn't help but notice Berliners' use of public areas as gathering spaces. It was clear that during this final stretch of summer heat, Berliners love to spend their time outside, often with a drink in hand. The city feels well set to have friends gather over a beer, to listen to music, and to dance. And nowhere do these ideas come together more than my favorite discovery during my time in Berlin, the Mauerpark. On Sundays, the Mauerpark is the perfect spot to hang for locals and tourists alike. Each week, anywhere from 30 to 50,000 people visit the park, which includes a sprawling flea market and large open areas where people barbecue, play basketball and other sports, play music, dance, and also sing. The Bearpit Karaoke is a true Berlin institution. Hundreds of people, though it feels like thousands at some point, come together in the open-air amphitheater to cheer on complete strangers singing their favorite tunes. This wasn't like anything I'd ever seen before, and it was super fun seeing everyone from the crowd cheering on the brave performers. Oh, you sang so well. That was wonderful.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
That was awesome.
So this Mauerpark is a vibe. Think flea markets, vintage shopping, food stalls, barbecues, outdoor music, outdoor karaoke, day drinking. If you find yourself in Berlin on a Sunday afternoon, you should come. And I think one of the coolest things about this too is that like everybody's here. There's people of all ages, families. It's like everybody's at this thing. I kind of wish that I had something like this back home.
The Mauerpark on Sunday was the discovery I think I'll remember most from my time in the city. To me, it summarized so much of the Berlin experience. It's eclectic, it's relaxed, techno runs through its veins, and there's always a feeling that something unique and creative is always around the corner.
So I'm going for a walk in the Tiergarten, and it's sort of the perfect way of spending the day. I've been in Berlin now for a full week, and every day that I've been here has been incredibly hot. High 20s, very sunny, not a cloud in the sky, and we're in the mid-September period. It's so warm that the leaves haven't started to turn just yet, but they're all crisping up because it's so hot. Anyways, nice to get a bit of shade and go for a walk in the city now. By the way, this park is huge. There are paths that seem to go in every which direction. I'm not exactly sure where I'm walking to, but it's all really nicely laid out. I love that there are people just hanging out in parks, people biking and stuff. It's kind of quiet now, but it's really nice.
At over 500 acres, the Tiergarten is among the largest urban parks in Germany, and its history traces back to the 16th century. And in the heart of the park is another one of Berlin's most famous attractions, the Victory Column. Its first iteration originally stood near the Reichstag before being relocated to the center of the park, and this year it celebrated its 150th anniversary.
So in my time here in the city, I've gotten around a number of different ways. I've taken a few Ubers, I've taken the train a few times, and my favorite way, which is renting bikes and e-scooters. It's such a great way of seeing the city at a street level. And I think one thing the city does really well is having separated bike paths along most of the main roads. And so it feels a lot less intimidating getting around the city when you don't feel like you're at danger of being hit by a car.
Berlin consistently ranks highly on global lists of bike-friendly cities. Every day, roughly 500,000 cyclists take to its over 600 kilometers of bike paths. And according to Time Out, it currently ranks as the world's #1 city for public transit, which includes underground and light rail trains as well as buses and trams. If you're looking for more information on Berlin's public transport, check out this excellent, and I mean excellent, video from YouTube channel Expat Captures that breaks it all down. Alright, let's talk food quickly. I got to eat at a few great restaurants, some regular, some very fancy, but I have a love of street food that's hard to beat, and there were exactly 2 things that I had to get my hands on. First was the doner kebab and its many varieties. It's generally thought that Berlin is where this delicious sandwich originated by Turkish immigrants in the 1970s, filled with beef, lamb or chicken, salad, and very importantly to me, garlic sauce. It's quick, it's filling, and the perfect food after the bar. 10 out of 10. Second was the currywurst, a sausage, usually pork, cut into chunks, served with french fries and curry-seasoned ketchup, and topped with curry powder. This took me a couple of tries, but I came around.
I can see why people get it at the bars.
I tried this at several places, but the best place I found was Curry 61 in Montbijou.
So a local I met at a bar the other night turned me onto the BER runway service. It's a new free service offered by the Berlin Airport that allows passengers to schedule their own security screening time up to 72 hours ahead of their flight. The way that it works is that you go onto their website, put in your flight information, and then you're given a series of time slots that you can choose from where you can go for your own security screening that's separate from the general security screening. It's one of the first times I've heard of an airport doing this. It's a bit of a game changer because I think lining up for security is one of the most stressful experiences of going to the airport.
I loved my time in Berlin. It's a beautiful city rich in culture and creativity, and it feels like there's an endless list of things to explore. But now it's time to move on to our next adventure.